Thanks, Count Corlin. I mean, at one level, this is a technical bill, but nonetheless, it is an opportunity to highlight some very important issues. Not least the very severe, because we're talking about a €709 million underspend under a whole range of areas in capital spending. Now, that is an indication of how significant the impact of COVID-19 has been. And you add to that 20 billion or so additional spending related to COVID-19. And to be honest, it exposes the false narrative of the government about their strategy being balancing public health with the economy. The truth is, the living with COVID strategy has been a disaster from a public health point of view, when you look at the tragic fatalities. It has also been a disaster economically, because we are caught in a cycle of surge and lockdown, and the government actually has no strategy to get out of that, rather than pursuing the strategy pursued in Australia, New Zealand, Vietnam, and many other places where most of the time, most of the people are living normally. And the economic damage is far less. So I just want to underline that. But one area that has been most devastated by this, which I've talked about many times, but I think it has to be highlighted again, is the area of music, arts, events, and so on. And this is a group who've been locked down for the full 357 days of this pandemic. Their livelihoods, their industry, absolutely devastated. And it is very important to stress, Minister, that the greatest capital we have, when we're talking about capital investment, are the people. They are the most important capital we have. And nowhere is that more true than in the area of arts, music, events, culture, and so on. The people who work in those areas are the capital. And to be honest, your abandonment of that capital, of the human, creative, imaginative talent that is really at the cornerstone of what this country is, its culture, and indeed the things that have made our lives bearable through this grim and terrible pandemic, have been effectively abandoned. And I just want to give you some figures in terms of the musicians. These are possibly new, come from the MEAI. Survey done by the MEAI, 41% of those surveyed musicians and people in the events and music industry have had a 100% income loss. 24% have had a 90 to 99% income loss. 20% have been forced into other employment, so they're leaving. The human capital is leaving music. 56% feel they will have to take up other employment and effectively leave. 22% have had to sell the equipment essential to their work. 26% are struggling to pay their mortgage, 31% are struggling to pay their loans, 45% are struggling to pay their bills, 17% are on the verge of losing their vehicles, 25% are receiving support from services for mental health problems, 45% are concerned about their mental health. Okay? This is the damage that is being done to our musicians, our events workers, and our artists who have been completely locked down. And yet, many of the grant support schemes, such as the CRSS and the one that was announced in the last couple of days, continue to exclude the vast majority of these musicians and arts workers and so on. I could add in taxi drivers, but we'll talk about them on another day because they don't happen to have a premises or they don't fit the criteria. And when you're talking about €709 million overspend, a lot of money, 10.1 billion, and you're now saying it'll be 10.8 billion in 2021, all, I'm sure most of it at least, going for important projects. Although I will say it is interesting, is it not, Minister, that some industries have recorded super profits. And some of those have actually been getting support during the pandemic, recording super profits, doing well out of the pandemic. But the musicians, the arts, the events workers, huge numbers of them devastated, their mental health on the floor. They are selling the equipment they need and the vehicles they need to ply their trade, and they are excluded from the capital support, COVID support schemes. Now, I would ask you, given that we have all this money underspent, could we not consider a bespoke scheme to support those music, arts and cultural workers who are on their knees, who've been locked down for the entirety of this pandemic, to give them some support so we still have a culture and a music industry when this is over?
Thank you very much.